My name is Alice Kemto, and I'm going to take you through this session. And I would like to give each and every one of you an opportunity to introduce yourselves and briefly tell consumers what you're doing. And then after that, we'll go for one round of questions and responses. Then we open the floor for Q&A. As they say, we start with ladies. So, karibu.
Thank you, Alice. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nita Omanga. I work at the Central Bank. I'm the Deputy Director for Banking and Payment Services. So that was my boss who was here earlier. I also head the Digital Payments Division within the Central Bank. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Welcome, Jaffe.
Okay, thank you, Alice. My name is Jaffe Togutu. I am the CEO of Consumer Downtown Association. Consumer Downtown Association is one of the consumer protection body in the country. We are actually working towards creating a fair, stable, and just market for all consumers in Kenya. And so our work involves receiving complaints from members of the public, which we'll explain later in the discussion. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Yes, my name is John Kamau, General Manager, Jamii Telecom. For those who may not know Jamii Telecom, we are an MNO, that's a mobile network operator, having started off from a fixed network operator, providing fiber to the home, fiber to the business, and recently now we are in the 4G space. We are the only operator who is offering purely 4G. As you've heard in the morning, there are challenges of devices, so we are one of the few operators who've come in, and our customers are only able to access us through smart terminals. So our network is available in all the major towns, and we are operating on what we call B3 and B28. Thank you.
So should we give him an invoice for your advertising himself? I think we should.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jane Kebene. I represent Wananchi Group. My position there is Customer Experience Director. Wananchi Group is the parent company of Zuku Fiber and Zuku Satellite. In Zuku Satellite, we provide home entertainment through TV. We are present in most of Africa. Let me be specific to our neighbors, Uganda, Tanzania, and Kenya, of course, and many, many other countries in the region, as East, Central, and Southern. And we provide TV channels that are local for each country, and also that we get from other providers, including big-time international channels like BBC, Sky, Fox, all that. For Zuku Fiber is fully integrated. We offer fixed internet for home and businesses, fully integrated because it comes also with TV and fixed line phone, where we provide the handset and the line, and our rates are very competitive. Many people don't know about it, but we are cheaper than some of the other big players in the sector. So I'm happy to be here to represent my organization and my colleagues, and to answer questions and learn from one another. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you. And you're not also a small one, you're also a big player in the space. Okay, my brother.
Good afternoon. I thank God for this opportunity, and also I'm honored through the Communications Authority for hosting us here. I am Frederick. I'm the Vice President at Kenya Cybersecurity and Forensics Association. So what we do is that we bring together different players within cybersecurity. We have members from DCI cybercrime. We have members from the military who deals with cybercrime issues. We also have professionals who are in IT and also cybersecurity. On the other side, we deal a lot with consumers. So most consumers, they come to us through the internet and also reporting to us in the office when they experience issues. Their emails are hacked, their money is transferred from M-Pesa, they go to Safaricom, they are not maybe assisted or any other provider. So we provide that sort of a bridge between providers and also the consumers. Thank you.
Just in that breath, now that you are protecting our data, what are some of the challenges that you're facing in the quest of trying to ensure that consumers are protected, as in their data is protected? What are the challenges that you encounter, you as cyber security?
Thank you, my sister, for that. If I can ask in this audience, how many of us are using our date of birth as our passwords? How many of us? Our spouse's name, I can see some hands. Our spouse's name as our passwords. Wonderful. Yeah, so also, how many of us know how to report if you lose money, if you lose access to your email? How many of us know where to report? Do you go to the police station? Do you go to the government? Which government office? And those people are here. And also, as I answer the question, what are some of the challenges? I don't want to sound technical because my background is technical. One of the main key challenges is lack of awareness by consumers, because this is your day. This is not our day. So, lack of awareness. We are just from COVID-19 for the last 2 years. But why were you using mask? And why were you using sanitizer? Watu walikuwa wanatembea na sanitizer. Why? Because you are conscious of COVID-19. And you are also conscious of the repercussions. If you are infected, you lose the ability to breathe. So when you come to cyber, the main key challenge, there are so many other challenges, technical challenges, but the main key challenge is lack of awareness. Second, ignorance. Ignorance from consumers, because we can blame the providers, we can blame the government, but we are unable to take our own responsibility. So for instance, if you say you visit a porn website and something gets installed in your computer, why should that be a bother to the government or to the provider? Let's say Safaricom, Jamii. You are the one who made the decision to visit a porn website. And upon visitation of that site, something got installed into your machine and data got lost. So we have lack of awareness. We have ignorance. And the last one, we are not security conscious when it comes to these things of cyber security. Just be security conscious. Thank you very much for the other people to also share.
Wow, thank you. And talking of consumers, lack of awareness, I would like to bring on board Director Japheth Ogutu of Consumer Downtown to tell us more about consumer protection and when it comes to fintech and also digital devices.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I want to bring the context of, sensitizing the audience in the room. Just giving you a preview of the history of consumer protection in the country. Basically, consumer protection has been a progressive agenda in the country in terms of trying to promote and entrench consumer protection in various industries in Kenya. And in 2012, we actually enacted the Consumer Protection Act, which now provide a legal framework within which consumer protection is practiced in the country. And the act is actually being improved, but we have to appreciate that we have something. That act is in place, is in force. The regulations under the act are being developed at very advanced stages. And through that act, there was also a creation of a Consumer Protection Advisory Committee, KE-CIRT, under Section 90 of the act. Provides for a creation of advisory committee that addresses the issues of consumer protection and also recognizes the presence of consumer organizations that are accredited that participate in the consumer protection in the country. So that is where we find our basis as consumer organizations to be able to protect the interests of consumers. But above all, we must also recognize that consumer protection is not only bestowed in the Consumer Protection Act. There are certain acts like KE-CIRT, which has been reviewed. The KE-CIRT is the one that introduced, created the Communications Authority. There is also the Competition Authority Act that established the Competition Authority of Kenya. There is also the KEBS. All this Anti-Counterfeit Authority Act. All that, they also have bits of consumer protection. And that's why Consumer Protection Act is something that is not a one-stop shop for one single stakeholder. So it is a responsibility of all of us. But then there are certain basics that also we have to know as consumers. You as a consumer, you have your own rights. Under Article 46 of the Constitution of Kenya, there's that creation of the Consumer Protection Act. But then there are specific rights of consumers that we must know as consumers. For you to be able to raise your voice, raise your concerns, you must be able also to know your rights. One of the rights that you have as a consumer, which are very basic, is the right to choice. You have a right to choice. You have a right to safety as a consumer. You have a right also to complain as a consumer. You also have a right to information. You need to be informed before you get into any agreement. And also there are certain rights like a right to quality, which are also bestowed in the law. So as a consumer, you also have responsibilities. Other than the rights, I think the previous speakers also talks about them, the responsibilities. You have a right to, you have a responsibility to inquire before you enter into any agreement. You must make sure you have the right information so that you don't just get into issues of consumer defrauding. But then I would also want to say, as I conclude on that point, that consumer protection is a very progressive agenda that we as consumers of this country must take the active role of rolling it or taking it to the next level. Because the Act, the Consumer Protection Act, provides that all government agencies and departments should have consumer protection departments so that we are able to address consumer protection at every level of our engagement. And if you remember, there was a question that came up here in the morning when the central bank governor was here, that the CBK also need to have a department on consumer protection, and particularly somebody who is or rather a team that are really focused on addressing matters of consumer protection. That is very key. And because it's not something that is just coming from the blues, it is already in the law. And then finally, there is also the issue of consumer complaints. I think this is an area that we need really to put more emphasis. We as consumer protection organization, what we do is to rally consumers, empower consumers to know their rights. That is one. Two, we call consumers to bring complaints to us. So when they bring those complaints, we are able to collect them, put them together, address the ones that we are able to address at our level. But those ones that need investigations, need research, need more of attention and even litigation, we channel them to relevant government agencies. And that's how we've been able to work closely with Communications Authority, KEBS, and even the rest of the consumer organizations here. But now you as consumers, let us also know that both of us have a responsibility to safeguard our interests as consumers.
Thank you so much, Japheth. You've done well. I hope those who don't know their rights You now know that you have a right, an important right of choice, and other rights that are enshrined in the Constitution of Kenya. Going forward, we want to know whether Jamii Telecommunication, we would want to know what are you doing, what are the policies that your company anchors itself on in terms of consumer protection, and do you have any opportunities to assist the startups?
Okay, I think first of all, when I was doing a bit of research on consumer protection, I had to look at the definition of who the consumer is. So first of all, the consumer is somebody who acquires a good or service as an end user, not to process for resale, but as a definite end user. So from where we sit, and then from if you listen to the central bank governor, what he said is, first of all, you must be solving a problem. So on our side, we look at it, what is this customer coming to us? What are they looking for? And then based on that mantra, we now look at what kind of services are we going to give you. Because you cannot claim to advocate for consumer protection if you're also not looking at what the consumer wants. And I mean, you know what will happen if, like, you are as a business, you have to open up yourself to some of these issues. So the way you look at it is, first of all, is what is the consumer looking at? They want to have value for money. So, like, if you come to Jamii Telecom, you say, I'm purchasing 30 megabits. Now, the first thing as an operator is to make sure that I give you that 30 megabits, to make sure that you get value for money. And then, so on our side, what we do, one of the things that we do is to make sure that you are able to confirm that whatever you're purchasing from us, you can actually prove it. So that's point number one. So we give you tools that allow you to confirm, yes, I'm buying 30 megabits, I've bought maybe 25 GB of data. You're able to see that from the consumer perspective, I mean, from the consumer side of it. The other issue is also, I mean, in the cyber industry, I think we have an expert in the cyber security. We have some measures which we put in place to make sure that our devices are not vulnerable. So as a consumer, maybe for security issues, we may not dwell on a lot of the challenges. Some of them are not public. We want to make sure that other people are not using your devices as platforms to launch attacks. Like, if you notice what is happening today, a lot of you may have received a lot of spam mails. If you know how spam mails are sent, is people hijack your computer, and then they use your computer to launch emails to, unsolicited emails to other people. So from an operator perspective, what we do is we try our level best to make sure that those attackers are not able to get into your devices through our network and launch. So the first thing is stop them from getting to your network, and then also stop them from launching those attacks to other people. There's also the issue of what we call denial of service. Like, you may buy the service from us, then you find that you're not able to use that service because somebody else sitting maybe in Eastern Europe is trying to access your devices and then blocking you from accessing the services. So there's a lot of things that as an operator we do to protect the consumer. Not necessarily, sometimes even we are not able to tell you as a consumer what it is, because most consumers, based on their abilities, they just want to be able to access the basic service that they've purchased from you. I think the other thing, today in the morning we had issues of bundles, people claiming that bundles are expensive. It's normally a very big challenge. What is happening is that unconsciously or subconsciously, we are all generating a lot of data, receiving a lot of data, so sometimes we lose track of the cost. So, like, one of the very interesting things that happens is whenever you upgrade the network, the next challenge that you get from customers is unakula bundle zetu, because the network becomes very fast. So they end up, if it's a file that was taking 5 minutes to download, it takes a few seconds. So the customer will actually, and they will even write to the regulator and say that so-and-so are chewing our bundles. So now on our side, what we've done is, again, we've put mechanisms that allow you to either regulate or have visibility on what it is that you're actually using. I can go on and on in terms of the measures that we put in, but the other question was what opportunities have we created for startups? I think, as you heard from our chairman, we've been in this business for a very long time. Kenya is still very underconnected. I think for those who don't know, you just need to leave the main cities for you to realize that the network is very bad. So as JTL, we've come in to try and fill up that gap, whereby we are providing, I know you're telling us not to advertise ourselves, but I think today JTL has the most affordable bundles. And the reason why I'm saying this is the patterns that we see. On a lighter note, you've heard that Thika Road is the home of thesis. People are using our students to write their papers. And then what you'll find is the data usage along Thika Road is very high. So what are those people doing? So those people are taking advantage of good connectivity in Kenya to be able to do a lot of offshore work. So that is part of it. The other thing is also pushing connectivity to the edges of, because left alone, most of us operators will just do the network where the money is. But if you look at like JTL, I said we are the only 4G operator. We've tried to push our network to almost all the major towns, meaning you can actually be able to sit in Eldoret, deep in Eldoret, and do either online work in Kenya or online work based on customers who are not even based in Kenya. We have cases of where people are operating call centers from right inside some chambers because they're able to use services. So being in the connectivity section, what we've done is we believe provide the connectivity, open up the pipes, customers will figure out what to do with it. I think like one of the things that our chairman mentioned is at some point, you will not believe that we only had 512 Mbps for the whole country, and which was actually being offered by one of the operators. And all the other operators had to subscribe to it. 512, you cannot even send a WhatsApp image. And today, that has changed. Today, you're able to even watch YouTube. You're able to watch Netflix from your phone. At some point, we were in Ethiopia, and somebody said that Kenya does not need more than 1 megabit of connectivity, the whole country. So, and looking back, I say there are so many things that we were not able to do at that particular time, but we are able to do them now because the connectivity is improving. Right now, we are at 4G. By the time we get to 5G, there are so many other things like virtual reality. And something I predicted in 2012, and I was joking, actually. That's the time we started pushing home connectivity to people. And I was saying, I can't imagine I'm seated in my house doing teleconferencing, but in a shot. Little did I know that later, about 10 years to come, COVID will happen. And what has happened? Connectivity has actually enabled people to work from home. So think about schooling. I think we saw a surge in data usage when COVID hit, because almost everybody wanted to do homeschooling. And you cannot do homeschooling without good connectivity. So in terms of Jami's participation in that space, we've really done our bit in opening up the space for Kenyans, for Kenyans to innovate on things based on connectivity.
Just before I let you know, I'll let you go. What about skill transfers to startups? Do you have any program that you've started for startups? I would like really to understand, the consumers would like to know, what is this that you have, what are the services that you have for them? Other than connectivity, is there anything that you are going out of your way to ensure that you empower the startups?
I think on our side, one of them is we have a very robust attachment program, whereby we invite, we actually host almost every month. We have about 10 students who do the attachment at our place. We believe that some of the skills can only be obtained by doing practical work. So we've deliberately opened up our company for attachments. Now, in terms of maybe skills, we've during the pandemic, we also did some partnership with some organizations in enabling digital content for education. And that went very well, whereby content was available. Because what we realized is that, as Mugo mentioned, there are some people who are not affected, especially the privileged kids. Their education continued. But we realized, like the public schools, not even the public schools, actually, funny enough, even the Kenyan universities, they actually lost, whereas their counterpart in the rest of the world continued. So we partnered with a lot of content providers where we provided, not directly, but indirectly, whereby like we'll give them bundles that we allow them free access on our network for them to send their content across.
Wow, thank you so much. To Jami Telecommunications, nowadays or going forward, it's like everything is going to be on digital platforms. Talk of e-commerce, talk of education, as our brother said, talk of any sort of transaction. Is your connectivity, your internet connectivity reliable, and it can serve consumers at that level? And if not, what are you intending to do? And how far are you connected? I mean, are you, what's your capacity to serve consumers at that level? No, that's Mwananchi, not you, Mwananchi.
Thank you for the question. We both thought it was his question. No, it's fine. Thank you very much. Happy to explain. So that touches squarely on Zuku Fiber. We provide fixed internet, and yes, I can assure you and the audience and consumers at large that we have sufficient capacity to meet all sorts of needs and short-term demands. For example, when COVID set in and everybody was forced to stay home, or at least stay in place wherever it found you, we upgraded our capacity such that people stuck in one place were able to continue their work, were able to continue schooling, were able to run their businesses. And we saw a huge spike in demand for fixed internet because people were stuck physically in one place for a very long time. But life had to continue. Now we got tested about 3 months after that, when I think a lot of people were thinking, is this the end of my ideas? Is this the end of all those things that I was planning to do? And we were at the forefront to reassure the public in East and Central Africa, but that no, you are not stuck. You can run your business online. And that again brought up another category of clients that I would say we didn't have before, because people now started launching websites, launching payment platforms, the likes of, the small service providers. You can order for water for the house, you can order for shopping, you can sell your wares online, whether it's jewelry, perfume, food, whatever it is you sell, shoes, anything. So behind those people, those small operators, those entrepreneurs, yeah, we are a key provider of the backbone in terms of the internet, whereby the 24/7 the service is running. They receive orders from anywhere, literally, around the world, and whichever country they're operating in, between Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, because that's where we have the fixed internet doing very well. And we realized that we can continuously innovate in terms of the capacity of our own network and the scale to which the end user can do more with their lives, do more with what they have, and even have new ideas. But of course, it brought other challenges of children are stuck at home, parents are working, children are online all the time, something that a lot of parents and guardians were very strict about before. But we were ready with a child protection solution to protect the children, to ensure that they are accessing only the sites that they require as authorized by the parent. So the parent or guardian or adult around is able to control what the children access, both on TV channels and online. And we think going forward, because what we have seen, even if we have gone back out to have life as almost as it was before, and we hope and trust that it gets better, very many schools, businesses, employers, households are not discarding the infrastructure that they put in place when that need was there. It's becoming also part of life, that you can work from home or work from the office. So for those who are working from home or schooling from home, doing exams online, including the students he referred to on Thika Road, we are facilitating them and empowering them to do more with their lives by providing whatever they require. When you look at our product range, we have something for a student, we have something for a company, big companies, we have something for an entrepreneur fresh from university or whatever it is they want to start as entrepreneurs. And we have also something for the niche client who just wants dedicated bandwidth to run, for example, gaming, or to run a call center, or to run a media channel, and things like that. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. You've gone out of your way even to provide as much information as possible. I would like Alfred Ambani from the Communications Authority. There's a lot of betting on TV